This week, CNN reported that the Supreme Court gave Texas and 25 other states an extension of 8 days to file briefs in a case concerning the Obama administration's controversial immigration programs. The states were seeking a 30-day delay, which the administration had feared could result in the case not being heard until next fall, or even after the presidential election. The court has not yet determined whether or not it will hear the case. Immigration rights groups, however, are fearful that the case might be pushed off until next term and decided after the presidential election. This is an ideal example of cooperative federalism, as the states' governments and federal government work together to achieve common problems,
declared President Obama at the climate talks that took place in France. Additionally, the president made it very clear that as a leading country in the world, it is America's obligation to support an end to greenhouse gas emissions. Most Republicans in the House remain unconvinced that human activity has anything to do with the issue, and therefore they refuse to support the president in passing bills that would aid in finding a medium between both environmentalists and energy plans. Despite this being a tough and generational problem that will not have an easy solution, President Obama is very confident that we will find a way out of the problem. Commemorating National AIDS Day today, the New York Times released an article that advised the country that our war on AIDS is not finished, and moreover, it is not looking good. Despite the abundant amount of technology that has been created in recent years, studies show that due to lack of being able to receive treatment, hundreds of thousands of individuals nationwide are victims to the life-threatening virus. In fact, it is estimated that a tragic 45,000 new cases are being filed every year, and a concerning 65% of those people are not getting treatment. All the while, unprotected sex and the unsanitary habit of sharing needles is still being carried out on the daily. This epidemic perfectly showcases the negligence of the executive and legislative branches to financially aid programs or fight for the passing of bills that would assist such a crisis.
Now that the sweater weather is approaching, we have good news and bad news to bring to all our listeners. According to the Los Angeles Times, thanks to a series of frosty winter storms, California's snowpack is now doubled what it was last year at this time, according to officials. Now the bad news. The amount of water actually contained in the fluffy white stuff is still well below average. Snow levels measured statewide on Tuesday showed that the water content was 56% of the historical average for December 1st. 1 year earlier, the water content measured just 24% of average. It certainly is a better sign than there was last year, said David Rosado, chief of snow surveys for California's Department of Water Resources. Anything is better than zero, so, yeah.
Following the shocking and unprecedented shootings that took place yesterday, the 3rd of December in San Bernardino, New York Times journalist Haider Ali Hussein Mullick, an American Muslim living in Washington, took to the papers to express his opinion on the matter. Mullick shares that he feared there would be an outbreak of Islamophobia that would sweep the nation should any event take place in America that would parallel the tragedy that devastated Paris just last week. Despite all efforts by the Islamic State, or ISIS, to have the 3 million Muslim Americans residing in our nation feel like outcasts and enemies, Mullick knows this cannot happen. He suggests that the concept of choosing between classifying oneself as either Muslim or American is unjust, and no Muslim American should give in. This prejudiced fear towards Muslims and Muslim Americans by Americans has long been established. Containing that fear and taking small steps towards defeating the unknown terrorist group of ISIS will not only be crucial for the country's sake, but proposing an action plan will also be key for the current candidates of the 2016 election.